For thousands of Indians living in the US on H1B visa, life is a constant battle with uncertainty, anxiety, and stress. While the visa offers a chance to work in America, it comes with serious emotional and financial burden. Many live in fear of losing their jobs, struggle with long wait time for green card, and deal with an overwhelming sense of insecurity about their future. The situation has led to widespread depression and anxiety, with many Indian professionals feeling stuck in an endless cycle of visa renewals, financial strain, and emotional struggle. Let me tell you, the problem is not just about paperwork. It affects their mental well-being, relationship, and even the dreams that they once had when they left India for the US. The H1B visa program was designated to allow highly skilled foreign professionals, particularly in tech and engineering, to work in the US. Indians dominate the program, holding over 72% of the 85,000 H1B visa issued annually. While this has allowed many Indian professionals to work at top US companies, the road ahead is far from smooth. The visa is granted for 3 years initially, with a possible extension for another 3 years. But beyond that, securing permanent residency, green card what we call it, becomes a major challenge. Due to country-based quotas, the waiting period for an Indian professional to receive a green card can extend to 10 to 20 years or even longer. This has led to what many call the H1B trap. In this kind of trap, skilled professionals remain stuck in a visa cycle for years, unable to fully settle down or even plan for their future. One of the biggest concerns for H1B holder is job insecurity. If an H1B holder is laid off, they have only 60 days to find a new job, or they must leave the US. Now, this creates immense pressure, specifically during economic downturns. The tech industry, which employs most H1B holders, have seen massive layoffs recently, adding to anxiety. Many Indian professionals describe the experience as living on the edge, constantly worrying about what will happen next. Some even avoid taking vacation or maternity leave, fearing that any disruption in employment could lead to their deportation. Another issue is travel restriction. Once an H1B holder applies for visa extension or green card, traveling outside the US becomes extremely risky for them. Many Indians have missed important life events like family weddings, funerals, and even last moment of their parents' lives because they cannot leave the country. On social media, numerous Indians have shared heartbreaking stories of being unable to attend a loved one's funeral in India due to visa restriction. One person wrote on Reddit, "When my uncle passed away, I couldn't go home to support my parents. It was devastating. The pain of not being there for your family is something you can never forget." Now, the mental health impact of this prolonged uncertainty is actually severe and growing every single day. Many H1B holders suffer from anxiety, depression, and chronic stress, yet they hesitate to seek professional help. The reason? The US immigration form asks about mental health condition, and many fear that seeking treatment could impact their chances of getting a green card or US citizenship. A discussion thread on Reddit revealed that many Indian immigrants choose to suffer in silence rather than risk disclosing their mental health struggle to immigration authority. One user commented, "So many Indians on H1B refuse to get treated for depression or anxiety because they fear that it could impact their green card process." Imagine living with that kind of fear for decades. Now, apart from emotional struggle, there are also financial challenges. Unlike a US citizen, H1B holder cannot easily switch job, start their own business, or make long-term financial plan. Many avoid buying houses or investing in property because they are still unsure if they will be able to stay in the country for a long period of time. Some describe their life as being a permanent limbo, always waiting, never settling. A software engineer in Silicon Valley shared a forum. "We don't buy expensive furniture. We don't invest in anything permanent. We live like temporary guests in this country, even after working here for over a decade." Now, the biggest problem, however, is the green card backlog. More than 1 million Indians are currently waiting for employment-based green card, and this number is expected to reach 2.19 million by 2030. Let me tell you, the backlog exists because the US places a 7% cap on green card for each country, regardless of how many applicants come from that particular country. Since India has a massive number of skilled professionals in the US, this system puts Indians at a very huge disadvantage. As a result, an Indian software engineer in their 30s applying for a green card today might receive it until they turn 60 or even 70. Now, this prolonged wait has major consequences. It delays family reunion, prevents people from changing jobs frequently, forces skilled professionals into a state of constant legal uncertainty. Even after living in the US for decades, many Indians still do not have permanent residency. A user on an immigration forum expressed their frustration saying that I have spent 15 years in this country, paid all my taxes, followed all the rules, and I still don't know if I'll be able to get a green card. It's exhausting and demoralizing. The uncertainty surrounding the US immigration policy adds to the stress. Every time a new administration comes into power, there are fear of visa restriction, policy change, or new hurdle for H1B holders. Under previous administration, there were discussions about limiting visa renewals, increasing wage requirement, with that making the green card process even tougher. These unpredictable shifts leaves H1B holders constantly worried about their future. Some even consider leaving the US altogether and returning to India, where the tech industry is growing rapidly. Now, the struggles of H1B holders also affect their families back in India. Many parents wait for years and even decades to see their children settle down. Some pass away without even seeing their grandchildren. A common sentiment along H1B holders is that they are losing the best years of their lives in uncertainty. One Reddit user summed it up saying that life is not about waiting in a queue for decades and dying one day. We are wasting our youth in this endless cycle of visa and paperwork. Now, given these challenges, many Indian immigrants and advocacy groups are pushing for policy change. Now, many of these include removing country cap on green card, which would allow Indians to receive permanent residency faster, providing more job security for H1B holders, so they are not forced to leave the country if they lose their jobs. They're ensuring mental health support without it affecting immigration status. You know what? Despite the struggle, many Indians continue to pursue their American dream, hoping that reforms will eventually ease their path to stability. However, for now, the reality remains harsh. The US immigration system treats these skilled professionals as essential workers for its economy, yet provides them with no real security. The future remains uncertain for many, and it's really long, exhausting wait. Now, what do you think should change in the H1B visa system? Do you know somebody who has been affected by these challenges? Let's start a discussion now.